Good afternoon. My name is Gabe Silva. I am a program manager in Azure Networking. My specific role is I'm a program manager for the FPGA applications and the data path that we run. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the new features, how we connect everything together, the Getting Things Connected title there. So the agenda is to talk about, first, the new announcements that we have. The new features that we've rolled out over the last 6 months, including accelerated networking, IPv6, go into some details. It's going to be pretty high level. We're not going to talk too much about the technical details, but if you have questions afterwards, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I have about an hour's worth of content, so that leaves about 15 minutes for questions for you guys. So I'm also going to have some customer kind of demo. We'll talk about how we used Hyatt to transform their business with Aviatrix. So before we talk about the details of Azure networking, I want to talk a little bit about Azure itself and its presence across the globe. Today we are truly a global company. You see it in our presence in regions around the world. We have 34 regions right now, and we're only planning on expanding that. So we go where the customer demands. We come to you guys, and so as we feel that we have a demand for a data center in a certain region, we investigate and we go out and build them. So we have 34 Azure regions across the world, and this adds up to about 1.6 million miles of fiber. So if you think about that, that's a lot of fiber spanning the globe. We are where you guys need us. So, and lastly, ExpressRoute allows you to take advantage of those miles of fiber that we've put down for you. It allows you to connect directly to the Microsoft network from your companies. So I want to touch a little bit on how we do things. We are really at a hyperscale. We have over 1 million servers today, and the way we connect these things is actually pretty cool. A lot of it's done in software. So inside an Azure region, we have multiple data centers. It's not just one data center that makes up a region, so there's not one point of failure. So millions of servers, which then provide the security, performance, all the load balancing, all the functions that you guys take for granted and we're building on the back end in software, connected to our software WAN, then connecting all the regions. You have our optical networks and the long haul straight to the ISPs, and then that's what makes up our global reach. Right, so we have national clouds for harder to reach areas. So China, we have our presence in China, Germany, and government clouds as well. So that way we are everywhere you need us. So one of the first things I want to talk about that we've really been focusing on is performance from a customer's point of view. How many of you guys run Linux VMs? And how many run Windows? Oh, that's actually better than I thought. I thought mostly Linux. So what we're actually seeing is the demand for Linux VMs is growing, and it's growing rapidly. Today, Linux VMs make up a minority of the growth, but it's growing very rapidly. So we are trying to really pay attention to the performance of both Windows and Linux, trying to treat Linux as a first-class customer. So one of the first things we would like to announce is that we're rolling out a slew of performance upgrades throughout the fleet. These are anything from bug fixes to optimizations. You're going to see this in your performance today at no additional cost. So these are slowly rolling out, but we're seeing that performance for both Windows and Linux VMs is increasing by about 50%. How many of you guys today have trouble with performance in your networks? Yeah. Is it latency or throughput? Both? Yeah, so a lot of people see those problems today, and this is one of the things we're doing to try to bridge that gap, to give customers the performance that they expect. So this is for the compute VMs. Compute VMs are going to see an increase, and then we're also rolling out additional hardware optimizations for storage, RDMA if you guys are familiar with it. And we're expecting it to be done it was expected to be done the end of last year. We had a couple delays, so we're looking at the end of this month, which hopefully you guys are seeing the benefits already. So the next feature I want to announce is accelerated networking. So we actually started the accelerating networking preview. It was October of last year, roughly. And today we have over 100 customers using the accelerated networking. What this is essentially is connecting your VM directly to the hardware. So if you guys know the details of a host, there's a software switch in there that actually routes packets to all the different VMs. That adds overhead and latency to your networking. So when you enable accelerated networking, it actually bypasses the whole software stacking and packets route directly to the NIC on that box and out. So this provides a 10x latency improvement, increases the packets per second, and reduces the jitter from one packet to the next. So you see a consistent network performance. How many of you guys actually have heard about accelerated networking or have used it? Yeah, what was your experience with it? You heard about it? Okay. So today it's only for Windows VMs, but we're expanding that slowly. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to be expanding it. Today it's just the largest VM. It's the DS15, takes up the whole box. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll be expanding it to 8 core VMs. So hopefully by then it'll be more accessible to your smaller customers. Today, folks are using it for benchmarking just to show that, hey, we're actually getting better performance. The latency's gone down. And one other thing that we would like to announce is that we are also raising the caps on the DS15 VMs. So we saw that since these customers are using the whole box, there's no reason to limit them to 12 or 15 gigs, especially now that we can reach it with SR-IOV. So we raised the cap to 25 gigs per second. I'm going to show you a demo here today. I'll show you that we reach that cap, and we still have room to grow. 25 gigs right now is just to make sure that the host has plenty of room for compute and that networking isn't taking up the whole all the CPU cycles. And so I talk a lot about benchmarks, but one of the things that we did is we went and worked with SQL on these performance improvements. And they saw a 1.5 times increase in their performance as well. So these accelerations are going to be visible to you guys through other applications like SQL. And once we roll out the Linux preview, you'll see more appliances start to use this and get better performance. So just a little bit more about how it actually works. Today, like I mentioned, all the SDN policy is applied in the host. So you can imagine a virtual switch in there routing packets to your VM as the packets come in through the network card. With the accelerated networking, all that policy gets applied down in the hardware. So it's actually done in the FPGA. We apply the policy, and as packets come in, we can direct them directly to the VM. Any questions? So if there's no questions, I'm going to jump into a demo. So I've spun up 2 VMs here. Both of them in our West Central, sorry. Can you see them? No? Both of these are in our West Central region today, and they're both DS15 VMs. And so I've gone and enabled accelerated networking on both of these. And the way you can tell is that here under networking, you see the VF, the Mellanox driver there. That's the driver it's called the virtual function that communicates directly with the NIC. So we are using, this isn't just a joke. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you our latency. So usually you'll see anywhere between 200 and 300 microseconds to communicate between VMs. And so what I'm doing is I'm spinning up a simple test latency test that sends 100,000 pings to and from the servers. And as soon as this completes, what you're going to see is that the majority of the pings are coming back within 10 microseconds one way. And so that's a huge improvement over non-accelerated machines, which you see, like I said, roughly about 200 microseconds round trip, 100 microseconds one way. Now, to show you guys that we can reach the caps pretty easily, I'm going to spin up another test here. And sorry for the command lines, guys. This is kind of the networking, the standard for networking demos. And so what this is doing is this is just a pure networking test. We're not touching storage at all. It's just testing how much we can send to two different VMs. And so the traffic's now running. And you can see here, we're getting roughly about 24, I can't see from that far away, 24.9 gigabits per second. So this is now extended to you guys. It's in a preview today. We will be GAing. The target is end of March. So you'll be able to use this, and it's completely free for the customers. So you can just go in and enable as long as you're on the right size. So the plan is for 8 core VMs to roll out in March, and then we'll slowly be expanding that to 4 core VMs as well near the middle of the year, towards the end. Any other questions? Okay, one last. Sorry, guys. Let me do something here. And so I want to show you guys the experience of enabling accelerated networking. So today it's only in 2 regions. It's in West Central US and West Europe. So we'll go ahead and use the West Central US. And as it spins up, have to choose the DS15 option in creating the VM. And you'll see that the accelerated networking button just pops up. Again, free of cost, free to you guys for your highest workloads. Just enable, and you'll spin up the VM. Okay, let's switch back to the presentation. Okay, and that's just the kind of the headline. We get 25 gigabits, which is the fastest VM out there right now. We believe it will be the fastest for some time, and we still have room to grow with major latency improvements. So now I want to talk a little bit more about the actual data center, how we do things inside the data center, and what improvements we're bringing to you. So to show you guys a little bit, in the data center, it's virtual networks. You guys bring your own networks, place them in there. You segment them with subnets, ACLs, and you can control the flow of traffic however you'd like. You have front-end access directly to your VMs. Again, you have ACLs for security, so you can set whatever ACLs you'd like. And we provide under the covers any kind of DDoS protection that you need. So that's all done within the network from us. And you also have back-end connectivity through things like ExpressRoute or site-to-site or point-to-site if needed. So one thing that we are announcing is the availability of VNet peering. And what VNet peering does is it allows you to actually go outside of subnets and access resources in other subnets. So prior to VNet peering, these workloads were all done somewhat of a silo. Every resource that you wanted to have accessible to the different, to your different VMs would have to be within that subnet. Well, with VNet peering, you can actually access a set of resources from the different VNets or subnets. This way, you don't waste money or waste resources in having to spin up multiple of the same instances of the same VM in the different VNets. So these are the common components that you see. So infrastructure, perimeter networks, your monitoring. And so VNet peering is now generally available for you guys to use. It allows for full mesh direct connectivity. You kind of have this hub and spoke model where you have your common infrastructure in the middle and people can connect to it from wherever they are. Very low latency because, again, it's within the same region. You can do, if you have a classic deployment and you want to spin up an ARM deployment, it doesn't matter. You can go classic to ARM. That's not a problem. Cross subscriptions, so if you have multiple subscriptions for your workloads. And also, billing was effective as of 11/01. So now, I'm going to talk a little more about building and running services on Azure. So another new feature that we have that's coming out, that's brand new, is the Azure DNS is now generally available for you guys to use. So you can manage your DNS from wherever you are, whatever region, wherever you are in the world. It's globally distributed architecture, so you don't have one single point of failure. And the SLA, again, is 99.9949's SLA there on availability. So we can do all the common DNS types. So you have your quad A up there, NS, and flexible management. So you can manage it through the portal, through command line. It doesn't matter to us. Our goal is to make it as simple for you to use, to spin up and to tear down as needed. The next big ask from us was IPv6. Now, for smaller companies, IPv6 wasn't a big deal. But for telecoms, IPv6 is kind of the way they're going. So this was a huge ask from us, and happy to announce that IPv6 is now generally available. So you can run dual stack VMs with IPv6, IPv4, IPv6 connectivity all the way from your corporate site if you have hybrid. And so it's now available for you to use. One thing we want to stress here is that these features don't just come out and work. Behind the scenes, there's actually a lot of work that's done there to make sure that it's ready for you, the customers, to actually consume. So when we did this, they call it dog food, right? We took and put Office 365 on our network using IPv6 and made sure that it worked the way customers expected. Found a lot of bugs, found a lot of issues, and so in this way, when you guys get something, you know that it's already battle tested. So it was running in production over 3,500 VMs and roughly about 1.7 petabytes egress a month. So next I want to go over a little bit about our software load balancers and how they work. So the traffic manager, which sits at the top layer there, will provide you with cross-region load balancing. So this is if as something comes in, you want to send it to China or you want to send it to the US, you're going to do it at this layer. And the Azure load balancer, this is the L4 load balancer, this does in-region scalability. So for all your apps that you have in the same region, it will load balance there for you. The Azure Application Gateway will then do your L7 load balancing. So this is what we provide to you to your VMs. So in some of the features that we have on our application, the L7 that I mentioned there at the end, for security, it has all the bells and whistles. It has the SSL termination, allow, block the protocol versions for SSL. Session and site management, you can do all the content management you'd like, and back-end management as well. So if you need VMSS support, health probes, those kinds of things, we do it there for you. So a new feature that we're announcing to the application gateway is the web application firewall. And so this had been a big ask from customers for some time. Happy to announce that it is now in a preview. So you protect your applications from any kind of web-based intrusions, and it's built using mod security. So we take the open source and you can use it as well. Highly available, so multiple instances running at once, and it comes pre-configured for you, already set up to stop any attacks, and then soon you'll be able to define your own custom rules. So it does detection and prevention modes. So if you just want to put it out there and just allow traffic to run through it, or you can have it actually block traffic in the prevention mode. Provisioning, it's just another SKU for the application gateway, so it's very easy to provision. You can do public or private endpoints. And again, the manageability, we want to make these things as easy for you to manage, so you can set it up through the portal or through a command line if needed. And the Azure Load Balancer, another new feature that we have, supports multiple VIPs, public and internal, to give you guys more degrees of freedom for high-performance load balancing choices. So this enables new scenarios and more efficiency in distributing application loads for things like SQL always on. And so you can simplify your designs and reduce costs. You no longer need to have 2 VMs in order to run this. You can now do it. You can have multiple private VIPs on just one load balancer, and you can reuse the back end using DSR. Now, a couple NIC enhancements that we made. The first is MAC persistence. This was a big ask from customers as well. This allows you to keep the same MAC if your NIC is disconnected or reconnected or torn down and rebuilt. So that, along with load balancing on all NICs, so before it was just one NIC on the machine would get load balancing. At this point, we have load balancing for as many NICs as you put on your VM, and you can put multiple IPs on a NIC. Now, for some people, this isn't that big of a deal. This is actually a much bigger deal for folks who are building network appliances, so that you can have traffic coming in one NIC and going out the other once you've done whatever inspection or transformation to the packet that you do before forwarding it in your appliance. So the example here is a firewall appliance where you have an external load balancer, and it's sending the traffic to 3 different instances of the same VM, and these VMs have 2 NICs on them. So traffic comes in one NIC and then just goes out the other. So with that, we have a big push to expand our ecosystem. We're listening to you guys, and we're trying to get all the appliance vendors that you're asking for. So we're going and making these improvements to the networking to enable the different scenarios. So the A10s, the Aviatrix, your Riverbed, and Cisco can all build the appliances and their products that you see on our competitors. So we're trying very hard to make sure that there is not an appliance out there that you guys need that we won't have, or at least some option to it. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about a customer that we've recently helped. So Hyatt has been using the Azure Cloud now for about 2 years, and they use a solution from Aviatrix. And so I have a short video here to show you guys.
The world of hospitality. It's a world of luxury and convenience, and a world that does over $150 billion in revenue every year. Recognized as the leader in worldwide hospitality, Hyatt has more than 600 properties worldwide, from London to New York and Beijing to Bangalore. Yet that worldwide presence leads to some world-class IT problems. For Hyatt, with their IT resources in a centralized data center in the U.S., increased demand around the world led to a huge increase in latency when logging into their enterprise resource planning servers. As their international presence has grown, so has the number of staff accessing their business-critical app servers, and more from an increasingly geographically diverse area. Application performance suffered from latency and impacted guest satisfaction. With a name that's synonymous with incredible customer service, Hyatt turned to Aviatrix and Microsoft for a solution. Aviatrix leveraged their enterprise cloud-defined networking technology along with Microsoft's Azure to deliver a scale-out solution with 20 times higher throughput and touchless provisioning to provide local points of presence to even the most far-flung Hyatt properties, reducing their latency to less than 10 milliseconds, providing redundant connectivity and enhancing security. And that's led to an increase in staff productivity, an increase in Hyatt customer satisfaction, and the ability to deploy more new apps. For the world leader in hospitality, Hyatt's partnership with Aviatrix and Microsoft has modernized the IT to be agile and efficient.
So that's just a quick video showing the power of the cloud and the partners that we team up with and how we're changing businesses across the globe. So I just want to walk through kind of what Hyatt's business case was. So what they were doing is they had a central location for all their resources, for all their databases, and sites across the world would have to connect to this central database. Well, of course, that's not efficient, right? What you want is you want to have your databases located as close to the sites as possible. And so they saw that this was a huge challenge for them to be able to build and keep up the infrastructure just wasn't an option. So that's when they turned to us. So they took on the Azure Cloud Center design where they moved the apps closer to the users. That translates to much lower latency than you're seeing than having to go to China every time wherever their central databases were located. And we didn't have to build any new data centers to accommodate them. Turns out we were already where they needed us. So Aviatrix allowed them to do, Aviatrix is a gateway that allowed them to connect from their on-premise locations. Every site that they have, every hotel, would then connect to the cloud using the Aviatrix gateway. And that allowed them to have central management, and it was very easy for them to spin up new gateways to connect. And so they went from having to install hardware in every one of their sites to being able to just click and build a new gateway for for whatever site they were at. So the benefits to Hyatt was the increased productivity. They saw that huge latency reduction. And the login time was reduced by 90%, again, because they were their resources were where they needed them. Also reduced their TCO. They didn't have to build the new data centers. They didn't have a bunch of machines that they had to keep up. And it allowed them to grow faster, which was the main point there. So, just a quick quote from Hyatt. Aviatrix radically simplified cloud networking and made Azure more easily consumable. So you guys get the point there of where we're trying to go with our network. So connecting to the customer is a big deal. We want to make sure that you guys get the kind of performance you need connecting into Azure, whether it be large corporate resources or just a developer spinning up a couple VMs. And so we have multiple ways that you can connect to Azure. So the cross-premises from your on-premise, there's 3 main ways that you can connect. You can do a site-to-site gateway, you can do some kind of point-to-site, or you can do VPN, right, your VPN tunnels, or you can use ExpressRoute through private WANs. And that connects you to all our services that we offer. So one of the new features that we have is the Secure VPN Transit. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to use Azure to connect from one site to another. Before you couldn't do that, so it's really useful to be able to just have 2 sites into Azure and not have to worry about connecting those sites directly. So you can use uses BGP for the redundant paths and dynamic routing. It does full mesh, so it'll go through the shortest path that it finds, and it uses our global network to do that routing. The next feature that we enabled was path diversity for your on-premise networks. What this allows you to do is you can have multiple tunnels or paths between your Azure VNets and your on-premise. So before you were limited to one connection. If that connection were to fall or fail, then you would see a loss in service to your Azure services. In this way, you can have active connections, so you never lose your connection, right? So it uses BGP, if you guys, I'm sure you're familiar, and supports on-premise network with multiple ISPs and VPN devices. So allowing you to get to the cloud and make sure that it's reliable. So in that same path, the dual redundancy for active gateways. So what we're doing now is building more gateways so that you always have a connection. Before it was active standby, but active allows you to lose a gateway and automatically fail over to the other gateway that's there for you. So 0 downtime during your planned maintenance, support both cross-premise and VNet to VNet connectivity, spreading traffic over multiple tunnels, so you also get more throughput with that. And moving on to ExpressRoute. So ExpressRoute is a network that is directly into the Microsoft network from your on-premise. You don't go over the public internet. You go to an ISP, and they will then connect you directly to our network. This has 35 locations worldwide. So wherever you are, you can reach into the Microsoft network. And that's more than any other cloud. So all this kind of goes back to the beginning where I was talking about the 1.6 million miles of fiber. We want to get you connected wherever you are and as fast as possible with the best performance. So just to highlight some of the places, Chicago is there, Seattle, Sao Paulo, we have Australia, we have our Europe. And on top of those, we also have the government clouds. Spoke briefly to this earlier. So we make sure that we are where you need us. China has strong regulations of how you can build data centers and provide these services. So we take care of all that for you, and all you have to do is connect to Azure. And we also have US government cloud and a German cloud, which have high regulations as well. So talking again about our partners, we're trying to make connecting as easy as possible for you. So you can use any of these to connect through ExpressRoute. Now, ExpressRoute itself has taken on a facelift. So one of the big things we did is we improved our SLA on ExpressRoute. So other companies don't even offer an SLA. We're giving you an SLA and making it better every day. So today it is 99.95, so you're guaranteed to have connection. And we're also announcing the Ultra Performance ExpressRoute Gateway. So before you were limited to 2 Gbps, at this point we're allowing you to get up to 10 Gbps. So, and then we're also adding more insights so that you know what's going on with your traffic. So self-help and troubleshooting tools if you run into a problem. There's improved monitoring, diagnostics, and alerting. It's frustrating when you lose a connection and you don't know what's going on. So we're constantly working to make that experience better for you. And also have visibility into your BGP routes, ARC tables, traffic statistics, all the counters that you need to look at to know that your traffic is flowing. And on that same note, jumping into monitoring and diagnostics. So we want to give you deeper insights into your network. We want you to be able to look at an express route connection and know why it went down or if it went down. Look at your virtual networks and be able to apply ACLs on every NIC, as many ACLs as you need. Know the next hop information, know what's going on with the traffic and exactly where it's going, regardless of the subnet it's in. And also on the application gateway. So the application gateway will give you all the metrics and alerts that you need and look at the back-end health information of your VMs. So the picture at the bottom just showing that we're trying to monitor your traffic everywhere once it enters our Azure network. We want to make sure that you have visibility into every one of your packets. All right, folks, and that's actually all I have for today. I'm sorry it was so short, but a quick summary about what we talked about was the SRIOV accelerated networking. We have 25 gigs to VMs now. It's in Windows only, but we are expanding to Linux here shortly. We also making improvements across the network so that you see those performance improvements without having to touch your network at all. We have the highest connectivity SLA for ExpressRoute, so that's 99.95. And then higher availability overall. You have your active VPNs, multipath and transit routing, improved security with the application firewall, and many more capabilities for partners to be able to provide you the solutions you need. And so there's plenty of time for questions. If you guys have anything, feel free to ask. I'm here for the next 45 minutes. So.
I was curious, the VPN connection and the, what was the direct line connection?
ExpressRoute.
ExpressRoute. We have multiple data centers around the country, and we're actually wondering, because one of them has an ExpressRoute, we've had some issues setting up VPN connections. Has that changed recently, that VPNs, you can do a VPN and an ExpressRoute, or is it still just the ExpressRoute connection from one location?
No, you should be able to have both, but
Can you repeat the question?
yeah, sorry. So he's asking if you can have a ExpressRoute and a VPN connection for one location. They should be able to coexist, although if you have an ExpressRoute, a VPN may not be needed. Does that make sense?
In our situation, we have like a data center in Seattle and a data center in Des Moines.
Okay.
And so we're wanting to connect a VPN from the Des Moines location into the same place as the Seattle has an ExpressRoute.
That has the ExpressRoute in it?
Right.
You should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll take your email information afterwards and we can talk about the difficulties that you're having. Other questions? Sir?
You showed the improvements to the NICs.
Yes.
Can the NICs be on different subnets? Yeah, more
For which feature, which improvement? So the MAC persistence, it doesn't matter what subnet it's on.
So, in other words, if I have a VM, the VM can have NICs on different
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
And a sort of a follow-up question.
That's how the appliances work, right? So you have, yeah.
Your picture didn't show that. It showed multiple NICs, but it didn't show them on different subnets.
On different subnets, okay.
Are VPNs, site-to-site VPNs still limited to 100 meg? I mean, I know you can do the dual thing to get to 200, but they're still software-based.
There were improvements. I'm not as privy to the information as some of my peers, but I know there were some improvements on the VPN side. Again, let me take your email address after, and I'll let you know. I'll connect you with the right people for that. You have a question?
The accelerated network,
Yep.
does that support multi-NIC? And if it does support multi-NIC, is it the same amount of speed on both, or am I losing speed if I do more than one NIC?
So accelerated networking, the question was, does it support multi-NIC? The answer is yes, it does support multi-NIC. Will you get the same speed on both? Latency, yes. Throughput, no. Only because the NIC on the box is only 40 gig, and we wouldn't be able to go higher than the 40. And there's other caps and things in place. So Combined, I have not tried that myself, but combined, I'd say you get probably in the 30s for your throughput. Do you have an application that demands that much? Just curious? Yeah. In the future, it shouldn't be a problem, but today we are restricted by hardware limitations there, so you wouldn't see the full 50. But that's a great question. Any other questions? Yep. It's within a region today. Yeah. Working on getting it across regions. Yeah, they're working on the feature as we speak. I don't know the exact date of when they'll get it out, but I know it's in the works. Yeah.
Does the web application firewall sit within the application gateway, or is that a separate kind of service layer on?
It sits within the application gateway. Yeah, the question was whether or not the WAF is a separate service or whether it sits inside the application gateway. The answer is it sits in the gateway. Yep.
Azure load balancer, how does it compare with F5?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Azure load balancer, how does it compare with F5?
Azure Load Balancer, how does it compare with F5? Feature-wise or performance-wise? You know, I'm not the load balancer guy. I don't know all the bells and whistles, and I don't know what F5 can provide. But again, I know the load balancer guy. And so if you want, let me take your email after the fact, and I'll connect you with him. Yep. Because I don't know that much detail about the load balancer.
Or some kind of iRules, like some kind of rules you can write if request comes this way, then do that. If request comes this way, then route it over there.
Yes. Yes, it does. So custom rules? Yes, we do support custom rules. Another question?
The rules that has load balancer, it's not like an iRule. iRules are higher level, so Azure load balancer is a layer 4 load.
L4, yes, that's correct.
So you can deploy F5 inside of your Azure network if you need that layer, application layer F5 provided.
Got it. Any other questions? In the back?
The multi-site or multi-VPN tunnel into your VNet, is that like an ASM ARM difference thing, or is it still supported in Classic?
It's in the new model. I don't believe, yeah, it's only in the new model. I don't believe we support it in Classic. I would have to double check on that though. Most of the new features we're doing today are only supported in the ARM model. Yeah. But we're trying to make it as easy for you guys to move your Classic deployments into the ARM models. Yep.
Following up a little bit on the F5 question, if you did need like a layer 7 device within the environment to deploy an F5 appliance, that would be like data center specific. So like, sorry, I should say, that would be network specific for that net. So if we had like multiple zones that we were trying to go to, would we have to deploy multiple F5 appliances for each zone coming off the Azure load balancer to really get that functionality and have the resiliency?
I don't know the answer, and so I would hate to give you a wrong answer. Again, let me steer you to the load balancer guy. He knows those pretty well, and he'd be able to tell you exactly how to set that up. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the answer. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Yep. Oops. No, go ahead.
Multi-NIC, is that supported in the portal yet, or is it still a PowerShell or ARM deployment?
I believe it's PowerShell only as of now. Yeah, the portal deployment, the portal template is pretty simple, and so it'll only create one NIC for you. Yeah. Yep.
Question on the DNS service. It looked like it would be a master DNS server. Is there any features that would allow it to be a secondary DNS server or a slave DNS server?
Ooh, you know what? Again, I don't know the DNS service that well. I want to say no, but let me find out for you. Yeah, I'll point you to the right guy for that. Any other questions? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. You guys feel free to come up and talk to me if you'd like. I'll be here for about another half hour.